Hi and welcome. My name is Lauren Opgenorth and I'm the Associate Director of Internship Engagement at the USC Career Center. In today's How to Secure an Internship for Undergraduate Students, I'm going to go through a number of different elements to help you with your upcoming internship search. But before we get started, just wanted to let you know a little bit about our office, with where we're located and some of our resources. First, we're located in the Student Union building directly across from the seats here. Also, we do daily drop-ins Monday through Friday from 1 to 3:30. So if you've got questions regarding your resume, maybe some questions to ask about your internship search or otherwise, please feel free to see us. But otherwise, let's go ahead and get started with today's presentation. What I wanted to lead off with first was how can we go about and give a little bit more insight for what is this internship. Internships are going to provide you with a hands-on industry experience. It's going to hopefully allow you to make some different connections for you to not only to be able to explore the role, but also the company and helping to prepare you for life after graduation. What you will notice is that for some of these positions are going to be paid or unpaid, and hopefully that's going to be stated up front in the job description. But for those opportunities that are unpaid, there could be certain requirements like an internship course. And there's at least 15 different courses that you can take here at the university simultaneously during the time of your internship. So they're offered fall, spring, and summer. There's a number of different courses. We do see a number of students enrolling in Dornsight's MDA 250 course, and there is a D clearance on that. And you can get that information specifically from the schedule of classes. But when we think about an internship, we're trying to think about what are all the things that you can gain as that student. Not only are you gaining some experience, but also some relevant skills in your particular industry. It's also going to connect you with different individuals within the profession. So maybe establishing a mentor or someone who's maybe a little bit more ahead of this process than you, maybe a couple of years. And as I mentioned earlier, it's that exposure to the company. So making sure that you're going to be in different meetings, different projects, different roles, so then you can see what the culture is like. And if that's going to be a place that you want to try to work for after graduation. And when you're thinking about that particular role, you want to see, is that what you could see yourself doing for, the immediate future after graduation? There's also the chance for some professional experience. So you can really try to dive into and see, well, what is the etiquette? What are the types of things that you're learning through that? It's really in that opportunity to see if there is the potential for that job in the future. So something that I certainly want to allow students is really treat that internship like a 3-month interview. Because if all goes well, our hope is that you can try to convert that internship into a full-time experience. So it's definitely going to be, there's going to be a lot of benefits that can come from that internship. And so we certainly would encourage you to do that at some point during your college career. So now in getting started, I really want you to think about what does that internship search and the application process look like? I do like to tell students that sometimes it's going to feel like applying to college all over again because it is a process. Sometimes it's pretty lengthy when you think about the application and then the interview and then managing different offers. But before you get into all that, I really want you yourself to think about, what do you have interest or passion in? What are those skills that naturally come to you, and how can you apply that to a particular industry? Because this is not something that someone else or a family member can decide for you. This is something that you are going to be taking ownership of. So what can you do in order to gain that initial insight? And for some, they might be able to answer these questions quickly, but for others, you're going to need to do your research. And so there are very specific deadlines depending upon the type of industry. I typically say the more analytical the role, the more lead time that you're going to need. And so as you will see in a few slides from now, I have a nice little timeline that breaks down the summer internship timeline, but it's very important depending upon either what job industry or function, you're aware of those deadlines. Also taking a look at the job market, that can definitely fluctuate. And so want to make sure that you're aware of some of those changes. And then of course, researching the company itself. So we have seen a number of students go through this process and they've done all the research, they've looked at job descriptions, and one of the things they say at the end is, I really need to try to go back to that job description. Our pro tip is going to say to save that job description, just because sometimes these positions are only posted for a few days. And after it's posting, they take it down and then it's maybe gone. So if you can go ahead and save that either as a screenshot or, take a photo of it, make sure you have that information at your fingertips. So then as you're writing cover letters and going to the interview, you'll then be able to remember what exactly it was you were applying for. Now, we know students are going to be applying to several different industries. And in order to try to help out, I wanted to share with you our Industry Insiders Initiative. This is something that we have recently come up with this summer, and we're launching this fall in order to try to help out students with this process. So how this came about is last year, we actually conducted our summer experience survey. And through a number of different data points, we were able to identify these 7 different industry groupings. And we thought, okay, now that we have this information, what are we going to do with it? Because not only were we collecting the data and talking to students who had accepted internships, what we were hearing in these conversations is that students were very eager to try to help one another, to share their insight, to provide, what they went through, because they thought, well, if I've done this, I want to now then share my wisdom with others. So this is really where this concept came about. And so what we're happy to do is, now that you've seen these industry groupings, is we have this whole kind of track that we're going to be doing within each of those different industry pieces. So starting the week of September 16th, we're going to be having these industry insights panels. And these are panels that are student-led with employers in those relevant fields. So the first ones are going to be in consulting, as well as healthcare. There's another one on AI, machine learning. But the idea is, for 90 minutes, students will be able to participate in these virtual sessions to learn all about the industry and to gain insight. Sometimes the employers will even give out some great information about what they're looking for in an applicant pool. So what great way to kind of gain that off, those initial knowledge points. Then starting the week after those industry insight panels, we're going to have our Internship SC, otherwise known as our Internship Search Clubs, where we, the Career Center, have hired industry insight interns to help lead these peer-led discussions. And not only are they going to go through a series of 5 different workshops to help students with the timelines, to give them insight about how do you do informational interviews, what do we need to have within our application, how to prepare for the interview, and then in discussing offer letters. And so the idea is, we wanted to try to bring these community groups together because we know it's a lengthy process. And rather than having students do it individually, what better way than to have a supportive group of students led by one of the peers do so. So that programming will be taking place then the following week, the week of September 23rd, but it's something that you're going to be able to see on Handshake here within the next week or so. And then, of course, kind of the third piece of this, we're going to do a peer-to-peer networking session. They are all going to be industry-based. The first one's going to be on October 15th, so stay tuned regarding that information. But if you're looking for a little additional assistance with these industry discussions, make sure you check out our Industry Insider panels and details. And to give you a little bit more insight with the timeline by industry, here's where you can see, you'll notice that, yes, it's a little bit past the initial starting point of the application period for our accounting, consulting, and finance group. But as you will see, specifically for data analysis, engineering, technology, we're right in the midst of it. And then for healthcare as well. So that's how we have developed the timeline for this programming, exactly based on what we heard from students who submitted details from our summer experience survey within the last year. So now that you know a little bit about that, I wanted to go in and talk about some of our different career exploration resources. Because if you don't fit within those 7 industries that I just highlighted, I want to try to give you some additional resources to help navigate this process. So the first one, and before I go into these specific resources, I do want to mention that all of these are available within Handshake. If you log into the Handshake platform under resources, this is where you're going to see this information, because for some of these, they do have some additional usernames and passwords, which would, again, you would need to use your USC credentials. So now that you know how to access them, I wanted to provide a little bit more insight. So this first one is one of my favorites. It's connecting majors to careers. And what can I do with this major? Every semester, we talk to students who say, I'm pursuing this major, but how's that going to translate into an internship and then a full-time job at graduation? What this does is that it provides some tangible examples. So for instance, if we see students who are an English major, it's not just going to say you should be a grant writer or you should be doing something like that. It's going to give you the option, well, have you thought about going into maybe a career in politics? Have you thought about the world of business? What about something related into healthcare? And it'll show how to kind of expand or branch out within the major. I think it's great because it gives students not only a general field, but then it also gives some job titles and job descriptions. So it's a really great way to see how the skill sets you're learning in those classes can be applied in real world application. Then we have our ONET resource. There's no login information that's necessary for this, and you can simply just Google it to access it, but it's got a lot of different industry information. So you can see salary points. You can see what is it going to take, from an undergrad experience or perspective. So that's a really great resource. We also have Your Next Step. This is one that is going to be within Handshake. You're going to have to log on, and it's going to have a number of different career resources and trying to manage what your next step is going to be looking like while you're a college student and as you get closer to graduation. Also want to encourage you to speak with several people here within our USC community, whether it's faculty through office hours, staff maybe through your academic advisor or any of the career staff here in the USC Career Center or the school-based centers, or of course your peers. We're seeing a lot more students having interest in speaking to people who have been in your major, and it's a really great way to do so, gaining that insight, learning about different things that have been so helpful in their own search. And then of course, one of my favorites are our vault.com career guides. Why this is important is because specifically there are a day in the life of peers from these fields. So a day in the life of an actuary, a day in the life of an investment banker, day in the life of a mechanical engineer. And it talks a little bit about what their day-to-day work does look like. While I do always say there's no typical day when you're working because priorities shift and things sometimes change, this will give you a little bit of a snapshot of what you can anticipate either in a full-time role or as an intern, and something to consider. Then of course, I do like to recommend either Indeed or Glassdoor so you can hear from those students who have pursued experiences. They offer some real candid advice. They can also even offer some insight of questions you can anticipate in the interview process. So these are all really great things to think of, and certainly wanted to bring them to your attention as you start off in looking for your upcoming internships. So speaking of which, as you're starting this process, I wanted to give you a couple different ideas of where you can see some of these different listings. And so I wanted to bring to your attention some of our specialized resources, which of course are in Handshake as well. They are Art Search, Bridge, our environmental career opportunities, and then opportunities in the public affairs. And within each of these, they are all very industry specific. So for Art Search, if you are within the Roski School, Cinematic Arts, for any of kind of the arts and design, this is where I would, or even education, I would encourage you to check out Art Search because it's going to post nationwide opportunities within arts education, art outreach, any different graduate school type options. This is going to be a really great resource for you and very much focus more on the industry trend. Much like how the Bridge resource is for students who are pursuing the field of music and or entertainment. So if you wanted to see opportunities domestically, nationwide, this would be a really great resource for you. Much like the environmental careers, we see a lot of interest, especially with our sustainability hub, but this would be a really great portal for you to see. Maybe you wanted to try to do something that was more LEED certified or otherwise something, green careers. This would be a great piece for you. And then for those students who are interested more within the public affairs, these are all external resources that you can make use of because of the subscription within Handshake. So there is that. Also wanted to remind you just about Handshake in general. For most of you, you learned about a number of our different events, workshops, and programming through Handshake, but it is also a position portal. So whether you want to search for on-campus jobs, work study or non-work study, we've got it there. If you're thinking about volunteer opportunities, there's positions there. For internships, that's going to be a really great resource. And also then for those entry-level positions as you get closer to graduation. Handshake is also available to alums. So for those students who might be graduating either in December or in May, you would then be utilizing Handshake for some of those additional levels. The idea is Handshake is that one-stop shop from the moment that you come to campus looking for on-campus positions, and then as you get closer to graduation. So we do have that. Also wanted to share an upcoming opportunity. On Wednesday, September 11th, we are going to be having our diversity, equity, and Inclusion Recruiting Expo. It's going to take place along Truesdale Parkway, and we have nearly 50 organizations that are hiring students from diverse backgrounds in order to participate in either their internships or full-time positions. The idea is this is going to kind of jumpstart our upcoming career fair, but they will be out there and very eager to meet with students like yourself. So bring copies of your resume. I always encourage students to dress in, business, at least business casual, just so that you're making that first impression. Again, first impressions are made within the first 7 to 8 seconds. So you want to make sure that you do look presentable and you're putting your best self out there. There's also our school specific career fairs. There is our upcoming career fair that is taking place this Thursday on September 12th. We do offer career fairs at least once a semester. And so it's a great opportunity to meet with, almost 150 different organizations. But we do recognize that the individual schools like Viterbi, Marshall, Annenberg, and several of the others will have their own specific fairs that will be listed either through their academic advisors or their individual portals. So stay tuned with that. A lot of times students will say, which one should I attend? It's really in your best interest to attend both, because sometimes alums will want to go directly back to the school, or they might be hiring for both technical and analytical and choose to make use of our resources in the main career center. So that is definitely something I want to make sure that you're aware of. Now, some of these other resources are USC Career Center specific, but I always tell students, if you're going to attend a workshop or any sort of program through the Career Center, there's always the chance that there's going to be an employer or an alum or someone that's within that Trojan family. So it's in your best interest to check out that workshop. Unfortunately for today's workshop, we're not going to have any additional speakers, but there are, as I mentioned with the Industry Insights panel, those are going to be all employers and alums looking to help connect with students. So make sure that you are participating and being very proactive in that search, because sometimes you might be thinking, I'm just going to go to the workshop to gain that information. And they'll say, after the event, if you want to come up and introduce yourself, do so. Please take advantage of that. It's a lot easier to walk up to the employer and have that conversation rather than going back and coming up with that cover letter. Sometimes you do have to do that, but what a great way to at least get your foot in the door just by attending an event right in the middle of campus, in the middle of your day. Then I wanted to share about coffee chats. You've probably seen some of these listed on the Handshake platform, but this is really an informal opportunity for you to meet with one-on-one or in a smaller group, more of like a focus group with a particular recruiter. These are seen as recruiting events and definitely a really great way for you to be able to kind of do an initial introduction to the company, let them know what you're interested in, and to let them know what your strengths are. It is absolutely an opportunity for you yourself to shine. And the more of these sessions that you can participate in, definitely the better in trying to seek those internships. As I mentioned, we do have our upcoming career fair this Thursday on September 12th. However, we do host a number of other ones. We are going to be also having on-campus job fair. We do host one at least once a semester. We do one always at the beginning of the fall semester, beginning of the spring semester, and then one in April to try to catch the students who are thinking about the future fall. So it is always in your best interest to be applying to internships at least the semester before, if not more so for those analytical roles. We did talk a little bit about our industry insights, again, starting the week of September 16th, and then our Trojan Talks. Much like the coffee chats, these are going to be recruiter-based. This is where you have the opportunity to specifically connect with organizations who are going to do kind of a meet and greet about who they are, what they're hiring for, both internships and full-time positions, and how students can stand out. Some of these organizations have been taking it a step further and then trying to do workshops on how do you brand yourself or how do you make yourself stand out, among the hundreds of students who apply. They give out some really good advice about recruiting, and it's truly in your best interest to check that out. So here are just some of the USC options. I also wanted to share with you some of our external resources that students have found very, very helpful. And I've kind of broken them down by the generic options versus those for international students. So first, we have a resource that is known as Extern. It used to be known as Paragon One, but for students who are interested in pursuing finance and consulting, more of those analytical roles, here's a great way to gain exposure to several of the different Fortune 500 companies and internships. You can go through their platform, create your own login in order to apply for those. So that's been a really great tool that some students have used. We also have Parker Dewey. And what's nice about Parker Dewey is these are all project-based experiences that are paid. So rather than, in a traditional internship, they might say like, we're looking for a part-time intern for 20 hours a week to complete this over the fall semester. Parker Dewey switches it up completely. And they say, this is a part-time role for 12 hours for the next 10 days. And here's then the project. If you're interested in that type of, functionality, you can then go to their website, create an account, and then apply. If they choose you, you would then complete that task within, X amount of hours or days. And then upon completion of the project, you would then get paid for that. They do tell you about the payment as well as any eligibility or technical skills that they are looking for. But we have seen, the opportunities within Parker Dewey kind of take off from during the COVID years, and they have continued. It's more of like the freelance style work in the sense of you can kind of choose how busy you want to be with these projects. We once had a student complete over 10 different projects over the course of a semester. If it's something that you can balance within your busy workload, that's fine. But I do want you to be very, timely in not only your academic options, but also any of your extracurricular activities as well. Also, wanted to encourage students to be taking a look at LinkedIn Jobs. It's a great opportunity for you to make those different connections and see what's available within all those different options. So it's certainly in your best interest. Then we have Forage. Forage are our virtual experiences. So for students who are looking more on the analytical role, such as, within finance or consulting, and if you're trying to gain some additional exposure to the field beyond internships, here is a great way that within these experiences, if you have 5 to 6 hours to walk yourself through a project and think through and come up with a series of recommendations that you would have, either for a client in the world of finance or, for a consulting gig, this is a really great way to see, do you want to work in these more analytical style roles? And if you do, Forge is great for you. Why I think these are beneficial, not only to try to test drive the field, but also if you complete these different experiences, then the names are shared with the different organizations, and you'll have access to different lunch and learns or webinars or different recruiting events that these employers like PwC, JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley, that they offer. So it's certainly a great way to get connected to the field early on. And then of course, for those students who are pursuing for the case interviews, we've got our management consultant subscription. So be sure to check that out just so you can do a lot of your research and homework ahead of time. So when it does come down to those case interviews in the field of consulting, you're going to do nothing but shine in that opportunity because you've had the chance to prepare. Now, switching over to our international students, I wanted to mention 3 different resources, InterStride, Going Global, and then F1 Hire. These are great resources put out by a number of past international students who were navigating this experience, and they can offer some suggestions or some tips, really best practices for how they can go about and standing out for all the right reasons and gaining internship opportunities. The one mention that I would have about Going Global is while it is listed under international students for its H-1B sponsorship details, for any student who is thinking about international internships or studying abroad or trying to gain a little bit more cultural awareness for several of these different countries across all the different continents, Going Global is an amazing resource. And for any student that I have seen who's going to go study or intern abroad, I do recommend Going Global so that they can be that much more prepared within the country that they plan on going to. So definitely something to check out. So I know I've given you a lot of resources and you're like, great, I've now done my research. I now know about where I'm supposed to apply. What do I need? This is when you're going to need to have access to your resume, your cover letter, and references. So I would certainly suggest that you have a final draft of each of these before you get started, just because at any point in time when someone says, can I see your experience? Do you have a resume? You can then follow up with that. So really happy to share that we do have our smart resume tool known as VMOC. And if you just go to the website, www.vmoc.com/USC, this is where you can actually get a critique of it. We're utilizing artificial intelligence or AI as well. And what we're doing is we're giving students the chance to see how their resume stands out compared to other USC students. What we want to do is we want to make sure that before you share it is you have at least a 70 or 75 score out of 100. And it's looking at, the presentation of it, the impact of your bullet points. How does it look overall? And, what's nice is that you have 10 different uploads that you can use. If you need more than 10, we're usually seeing students doing anywhere between, let's say, 4 to 6 uploads. But if you do need 10, you can simply just email our office at careers@usc.edu for that information if you need more. But otherwise, you'll be fine within your 10 uploads because not only once you get that score, you can then go back and edit it. And after you've made those edits, you'll see that within some of your feedback, it'll say, just by updating, this detail, you'll get 10 additional points. Or if you can update this grammar situation, you'll gain additional 15 points. So it's giving you all the suggestions that you can use to just really strengthen that resume. So what's nice about VMOC is not only does it do this for the resume, there's also now their cover letter tool and even Aspire, which is their LinkedIn tool to help give you some feedback of how to enhance your social media space. So we certainly have that. We would also recommend a final draft of your cover letter. And I know that cover letters are certainly a little bit more lengthier, but we do have our effective cover letters and resume guide. I am going to share that with you. Here is the link right here with the QR code. Now, this booklet includes 25 pages of content. I don't want you to print it off, but I do want you to use this QR code so you can see those 8 to 10 different resume examples, to see that cover letter guide for what is being included, as well as how you can frame your 3 to 4 paragraphs and making it stand out. I typically tell students, think about how is it you want to try to hook the reader. You want to let them know maybe specifically about why it is you're contacting them. There's nothing worse than getting something, either like an email or an application, where they're not telling you, how did you learn about this role? Is it because of a referral? Is it because of your research? What is it you're applying to? If I'm the human resources manager, I'm maybe managing 300 different roles, but what position are you specifically interested in and which department? And then what makes you that ideal candidate? Is it because you have the experience, you have the skill set? Give that to me in the first paragraph so I know exactly what I'm going to be reading in my follow-up paragraphs. This is where you have the chance in paragraphs 2 and or 3, talk about your strengths. Is it maybe your academic qualifications, your project experience, your leadership skills? What is it that makes you stand out? Maybe you've had a relevant internship within the field, and whether it's been at a smaller organization or a larger one, talk about some of that work experience and how that has prepared you for this one. Either way, it's a really good opportunity to try to make yourself stand out. It shows your communication, and if anything, you're trying to brand yourself for why you want to get hired. Also, in the back of this, there is a reference page. It shows what information we're looking for. I typically tell students include their name, email, and or phone number, and then what was the connection. Was this a faculty or professor from high school? Is this someone that's been your supervisor? Maybe a faculty member here at USC that you spoke to during office hours? But typically for an undergraduate, I would want for you to have at least 1 or 2 references. And then for a graduate student, I say 3 to 5. That would be, kind of the best case scenario for that. All right, so now that you've seen and you know that you need final draft of your resume, cover letter, and profile, you're thinking, all right, I'm ready to go. I have my different strategies, but what are some of the additional things that you can do? This is when you're going to want to make use of the different connections. Do you know that something like 80% of the different roles that you see, people are getting hired based on, not just the application, it's based on who you know and making those connections and making sure you're actually being proactive with this. And you might be thinking, but I don't know anyone. There's absolutely people that you can meet. Look around within your classes. You've got different peers. You've got different faculty. So many times I hear from students of, oh, I don't make use of faculty office hours. And I'm like, do you know that a lot of times they've been hired by the school because of how much they've done within their field? They have this web of connection that we want students to make contact with. We want them to be able to share not just their expertise, but then maybe even make an introduction or a referral. And it's these existing contacts that can really help jumpstart your career and give you a little bit more insight. Within the informational interviews, you have a really great chance to learn exactly from people who are maybe in your same shoes, let's say 10, 15, 20 years ago. And they can also even potentially put you in touch with different hiring managers. So it is truly in your best interest. And I know sometimes the idea of networking seems a little off-putting or maybe a little overwhelming. Really think about it as making connections. Just like when you first came to campus and you were meeting your roommate for the first time, or you were being introduced to people within your student organization, you got to start with a basic, hi, how are you? How was your weekend? What did you end up doing? Start small and then build up. Then afterward, you can certainly ask them like, oh, well, have you had any industry experience? Or what does that look like? Or how are you able to jumpstart your professional career? These are some of the different ways that you can get started with this. And it certainly does start within here at this campus, but also it does expand out because we have 2 additional resources that you can utilize to try to help get connected with alums. And the first one is our Trojan Network. It's not just a concept that we talk about amongst the Trojan family, but it is a portal that has over 20,000 different alumni that have volunteered to help share information. Not only have they said, okay, I'm in this field or this industry, but they're happy to help out with that transition from college to career. They're able to share information about informational interviewing, making introductions to people in the field. They have specifically indicated what that does look like. And there's a number of ways that you can stay connected to them. We also have templates for whether you want to do career networking or maybe you wanted to do an informational interview. We've got templates on the site that will help you jumpstart that. Because I think sometimes the hardest part, it isn't necessarily finding them, but it's trying to find the words of what you're going to say to make that introduction. And our Trojan Network can definitely help you with that. Otherwise, we have LinkedIn. And do you know that there's over 380,000 alums that are currently on that platform? I would certainly encourage you to search by the University of Southern California and then drill down to see, well, what is the industry or the geographical location or the job function? Any one of those factors you can search by and then see and then reach out to make those connections. Again, we don't want you to ask for jobs, but we want you to seek and gain the information about the field to see if they might be able to offer you some insight of what you can do while you're still in school in order to prepare for those experiences. And last but certainly not least, we want to make sure that you are acting as yourself. There's nothing worse than trying not to be as authentic as possible. That'll certainly come through at a certain point. And so just be yourself, be genuine, and hopefully they will see that true light shine through. All right, I know we've been talking about a lot of different ways and different things, but these are kind of my last little tidbits of what you can do to help successfully secure that internship. And it's really preparing for your interview. We want to make sure that you are very much privy to what's going on in the here and now. So it's going to the company, it's going to the industry's website before the interview. You want to try to Google them. Is there anything that has happened in the last week or the last 30 days that would be important to know? There's nothing worse than catching the student who's like, oh, so you've been to our website, and to say, oh, no, I've been so busy. You can always take the few extra minutes just to go to the website to see what's going on. Just so then you have some talking points, or maybe that's going to be a part of the questions that you're going to be preparing to ask them after the interview. And for students who have a little bit more time, we would certainly make sure that you utilize our big interview platform. Again, you have to go on to Handshake and log into the resources piece to get this information, but there are 2 different tracks that you can utilize. There's the fast track. So for the students that are very much in a time crunch and maybe you have less than 24 hours to prepare for the interview, this is going to give you a streamlined series of questions of the tell me about the self, to strength and weakness, to then why we should be hiring you. And it gives you that chance to answer that within let's say 2 to 3 minutes. It can then record it. You can then look at it yourself to give yourself a personal critique, or you can share it with a mentor or a friend. But there's otherwise the mastery piece. So this is a little bit more guided, and it provides students a little bit more chance to go through and think, okay, I have a week or so with this interview. What do I want to help to do with the research of the company to incorporate not only what I've learned about the organization with my own experience in preparing some of your responses. Now, the idea is not to memorize what you're going to say, but think about what are going to be some of the examples that you share, whether it's talking about some of your accomplishments or the positive aspects, but also then being prepared to think about, well, what are some of those weaknesses? What are some of the things that I am working on? If you haven't had previous work experience, is it being able to take that feedback that you've received from a faculty member, from a supervisor, and trying to make those improvements, acknowledging that we're not perfect, but that we are taking the steps to try to work through some of those areas that we haven't maybe mastered at this point in time. So big interview can essentially help you out with that. But there's also then our mock interview appointments that you can make through Handshake. That is definitely something that you can do in our office. We would typically suggest you give us at least a week lead time because we do come up with a series of questions based on the job description that you do have to submit. But it's another great way to be able to meet someone that you've never met before. Big interview, there are different individuals that serve as the interviewers. But I always say for a mock interview, try to do it with someone that you've never met before. Someone that you've never, you can't anticipate what that recruiter is going to look like. Well, I mean, you can if you look them up on LinkedIn prior to your interview, but in some cases, you might not know all the people that are there. And what better way than to prepare for that uncertainty in a mock interview or during big interview? So we have that. And of course, after then you ace that interview, I want to make sure that you follow up with a thank you note. Thank you notes are something that happen within 24 hours of the interview. It doesn't have to be anything lengthy, but it really should be just, 3 or 4 sentences. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to meet with me today to discuss your internship role. I really love to learn more about the such and such project or this upcoming initiative, or make sure you tie it back to something you actually spoke about, showing that you could actually envision yourself being a part of that organization. The more detail you share in your interview and then in your follow-up, then the more likely they're going to think, wow, this person is, very much focused on the attention to detail, and they could see themselves as being a part of the team. And it's really in your best interest to showcase that. So we certainly have that ability. And of course, making sure it goes off within 24 hours. Something that we do here at the Career Center is, when we look at the full package of the student, from their resume to their cover letter to their interview, to their thank you note. If they do it, we do note if people include thank you notes. And I will say that for my track record, typically the people that I'm hiring, they are the ones that follow through with that, because it just shows that level of appreciation. And that's something that I think sometimes can get lost, especially in today's quick and very timely world. So it's definitely something that employers are appreciating. And they've even told us this is what makes USC students stand out. So let's continue this trend and provide that. All right, so once you've done all that and as the offers start coming in, there's just a few things that I wanted to recommend. I know sometimes we get that phone call or we get that email and they say, you've got the offer, and students are very quick to say, wonderful, thank you, oh, this is great. And sometimes they don't get all the details. So we would highly recommend that you get your offer in writing and that it outlines all these different bullet points. Not all, and of course, some of this you might think, well, of course I'm getting from that, but we want to make sure that they've got the name of the company, but as well as far as the department. Sometimes there's a rotation. Sometimes you know that it's going to be a department, but it hasn't been stated. It would be great to know the specific department and of course your title. What is that title that you're going to put on your resume? You want to make sure that's going to be something that is, noteworthy, but then who's also going to be your supervisor? Make sure it's someone that you actually met during the interview, because sometimes that intern supervisor dynamic is so critical to the success of the internship. You want to make sure that that you felt good about it, that your gut feeling was like, wow, I could see that person really helping me stand out, gain some relevant experience, and I feel like they're really on my team. That's great. You also want to outline the start and end dates, not just saying this is a fall internship or a summer internship, but what does that timeline look like? Because if you already have different family vacations or other things on the calendar, make sure that you can share that with them. Does that mean that they're going to take away the offer? No, but you just want to make sure you're letting them know, oh, I'm going to be out for a week, or, sharing that work schedule, especially, in the fall, we've got fall break. In the spring, we have spring break. There are certain timelines that if you can be that much more upfront with it, it's going to really weigh best on what that does look like. So definitely something to consider there. And, probably the one thing that we've seen most frequently is, making sure you do know, is it a paid or unpaid position? If it's unpaid, you're going to need to enroll potentially in a class. And those classes, you can only add a class during the first 3 weeks of the fall or spring semester, and it's that much more accelerated during the summer. So making sure if you need a class, you can do so by the add or drop deadline. So making sure that that is very timely as well. And then one of the optional pieces that we have seen more frequently is if there's any legal disclosures or confidentiality, non-compete, non-disclosure agreements that an employer would require you to sign, just make sure that you know all that up front, just so then there are no surprises. Sometimes students are caught off guard and hear this information at a later point and they think, oh no, I didn't know about that detail. but we certainly want to make sure that students are being informed throughout that process. All right, so now that you've been working through that internship, certainly want to congratulate you, but also wanted to give you some self-care tips, just so that you give yourself grace. You know that this is going to be a windy process, much like, again, the college application process. There's not going to be this one-size-fits-all model. We want to make sure that you're, managing your time well, but also being sensitive that you've got to be able to celebrate these small wins, whether it is, cleaning up a copy of your resume, taking it from the draft status to the final status. That's great. Then when you're sharing it, that's another great win. We want to make sure that you are being realistic with this so that you're not, stressing yourself out, and that you are, not letting your grades suffer or your mental health suffer, of course. So we really want you to prioritize that downtime. Also know it's okay to ask for help, because there's a lot of different resources here on campus, whether it's here in the Career Center, your academic school, or USC Counseling and Mental Health Services. There's a lot of people here that truly want to see you thrive. So we really want to let you know that those resources are available to you, and we hope that you will make use of them. All right, so just wanted to do a little plug for some of my different colleagues around campus, but also wanted to share some upcoming summer scholarships for you as well. So we do offer 2 different summer scholarships for students who have internships for at least 6 weeks during the summer months. And they're very similar because they are both $2,500 for the award, but they're a little bit different depending upon the field. So for the USC Dream Dollar Scholarship, these are for unpaid undergraduate internships at either a government agency or nonprofit. And so if you fit that and have the internship by April, then you'd be eligible for this award. Or if you're an undergraduate who's the first in their family to attend college, then you would potentially be eligible for a first-generation scholarship. Both awards should be posted within Scholarship Universe within the I'd say about by November. So that information will be posted, but in the meantime, you can see some of this basic information on the website that I've listed up above. But certainly would encourage you to seek these awards. We've been doing them since the early 2000s, but we've certainly seen that the interest is there, and we want to help students continue to pursue their passion. So with that, now I just kind of, as I kind of wrap up a little bit, wanted to offer some of our key dates. We've got our employer resume review happening on Monday, September 9th, the DEI Recruiting Expo on the 11th along Truesday, followed by the Career Fair also on Truesdale, taking place on Thursday. And then we've got our Industry Insights panel. So these are the peer-led panels where we're going to have employers and alums coming to speak about consulting, healthcare, and biosciences. And then one on the 24th, which is not listed there, that's going to be on AI and machine learning. And then we have our virtual mock interview night taking place on the 19th. If you'd love to speak to alumni who are so eager to give back to their Trojan family, this is a really great way that you can do so. So just wanted to make sure you had these key dates on your calendar, but also some of our key resources. I know there's a lot going on within this process, and it's definitely something I wanted to highlight of. It is indeed a process. It is going to take some time, some patience, as well as your opportunity in celebrating the wins, but wanted to kind of give you a little bit of a roadmap to help show you wherever you are at this point, whether you are a first-year student, a new transfer, or starting your final year here at USC. We want you to go ahead and do that career exploration piece with connecting majors to careers and your next step, then going into the industry research with Vault.com, with VMOC, then jumping right into Handshake and going global, or some of the different industry resources like Art Search, Bridge, environmental career opportunities, or opportunities within the public affairs. And then, of course, the interview prep is going to highlight things like Big Interview, Management Consulted, and then that's that piece. But what I wanted to do is also remind you of our location. We are located in the Student Union Building, room 110, directly across from Seeds here in the courtyard right behind me. We do have our general email address of just careers@usc.edu. Also wanted to plug our advising hours, which are Monday through Friday from 1 to 3:30 p.m. And then certainly wanted to be able to share, we're on social media. All of the different events, workshops, and programs, we do a number of different posts. We want to help to make sure that we're giving you this information, not only through just the website, but also through videos, through different links, through photos. And so certainly follow us on social media. We are pretty active, and there's some fun things that we do that are not necessarily career focused, but things like our cutest critter contest that'll be coming up here in a few short weeks. But I just wanted to say thank you so much for listening. There's so much that you can do as you try to go about securing your internship. And we want to make sure that you're making the most of the USC Career Center resources as well as the school-based ones. So for now, I'll go ahead and say thank you and fight on.